Hello, everyone, and welcome to Module 4 of our video lesson 4 on assessment, making learning visible. I'm Vanusa Palacio, and it's wonderful to have you all back here. In this module, we'll be talking about a few tips and suggestions on how to make learning visible to our students. Well, the very first suggestion is related to making knowledge visible. We all know that our students come with prior knowledge, so we need to take that into consideration and plan a lesson or plan an activity that will entail this prior knowledge students have. Well, prior knowledge can help slide our students into the learning instead of creating a barrier. So we should ask questions, brainstorm ideas, guide our students at the beginning of the activity so that they bring into that activity their own knowledge, their own understanding of things. However, be careful. Just because a student already knows something doesn't mean that they know it correctly. So as a teacher, you can use anticipation guides, for example, to help correct those misconceptions before asking students to build on that specific knowledge, okay? Well, another suggestion is related to making vocabulary visible. Learning words requires more than just exposure to the words. So there are a few successful techniques we can use as teachers to help our students problem solve for themselves. Well, the first one is mnemonics. You can use memory aids if you like. Another suggestion is word cards. For example, dividing an index card into 4 sections, including word, definition, opposite, and illustration. Another tip would be for you to use model word solving. So for example, you think out loud about how you word solve a specific situation so that students can watch, think it in action, and can reproduce it later on. And you can, last but not least, you can use word and concept sorts. So for example, you can give your students opportunities to sort words and classify them on their own. So these are a few ideas on how to make vocabulary visible to your students. And how do we make reading visible to our students? Well, we should put reading comprehension into context. So teaching children, teaching students to understand what they read requires you to use a mix of activities, materials, and strategies. Everything you do is designed to help a student develop the ability to organize and analyze information in a text. That's what it makes it such a tough job. It's important to help students add context to what they are reading as they read it. So teaching students different strategies like brief summaries or annotation can help them figure out what works best for their comprehension. Another suggestion is related to making information visible. What can we do as teachers to make information visible to students? Well, we can use concept maps and graphic organizers. Concept maps and graphic organizers scaffold students to be able to organize their information and thinking. It is this intermediate step that supports extended writing and discussion of ideas. Using maps to guide your students in the way you'd like them to begin thinking can help speed up the time it takes to get them there. So in your lessons, make sure you offer students opportunities to not only use the concept maps and graphic organizers, but you also give them opportunities to discuss these graphic and organizers with their peers. How can we make questioning visible in our lessons? Well, both discussion and questioning in the classroom creates a place to foster deep learning. The more a student struggles with comprehension, the more value there is to asking questions and discussing thinking. Make sure to focus on discussion questions that require deep thinking rather than those that expect surface answers. For example, if you ask your students, can you tell us more about that? What you are doing is you are allowing your students to understand that you expect them to be showing evidence that supports their thinking. And how do we make the process of learning visible? Well, we should teach our students metacognitive strategies. Metacognition in literacy consists of information about how we learn. It also consists of understanding what we have to do in order to complete an assignment. And finally, it consists of a system for monitoring our own learning. It's the way we watch ourselves learn. You can help your students learn this amazing skill by teaching students to ask the right questions. An authentic activity that you can use right now to engage students in why this skill matters is to try out our website evaluation tool. This tool will help them track how they think as they surf different websites. Well, and how do we make problem solving visible to our students? Teachers have been using a version of problem-based learning forever. Many, though, aren't using it correctly. Make this one tweak and you could be quite effective. Instead of issuing a problem and inviting students to solve it, you can share conflicting information. Then you ask groups to identify what they think the problem is and how best to solve it, supporting their reasons with evidence. So for example, if your lesson is on undocumented immigrants, you could start by asking the following question. Should we protect undocumented immigrants in the US? In asking this question, you aren't defining the problem, right? Now you locate a few conflicting articles showing both how undocumented immigrants take US citizens' jobs and how immigrants can make an economy stronger. Then you share a problem-solving method and have them work together through the steps to identify the problem statement and then work to solve it. They will have to move flexibly between surface, deep, and transfer learning in order to accomplish this task. It's not an easy task to do, but it's possible for all of them together. And last but not least, how do we make writing visible? Well, assigning writing activities that extend learning can be a rewarding way to move students into transfer learning. The critical components that makes these extended activities successful is that they involve the use of knowledge, deep thinking, and transfer of information across disciplines. You'll be able to observe and identify what type of learning a student is using at any stage in the process. Your conferences can be used to name what they are doing and help them set goals to move into a different type of learning. While it's nice to know that students liked an activity or lesson or that you thought it went well, liking is not enough. You also need to know what impact the lesson had on learning, and that impact should be visible. Start with lessons that have clear intent and make sure students know what they should be accomplishing and how. Give them feedback very soon after a project or lesson is complete so that they can use what they learned to improve their learning going forward. This is the toughest work out there, but also the most rewarding. Well, guys, thank you very much. This is the end of Module 4, and in Module 5, we'll have our final considerations. See ya. Bye.